Okay, real good and welcome everybody. If you can hear me out there, I'm Jim, the Director of Education with the Inland Empire chapter of ARMA, where we get together every month for a virtual meeting and sometimes in-person meetings for topics just like this, information and records management topics. Today is no exception. We've got a great lineup, a panel, if you will, a few folks joining us. We do have Jamie Dunn, Angelica, and Sabdi are here as well. Folks, if you're with us, feel free to turn your cameras on. We'd love to see you join us. Um, Jamie, do you feel comfortable taking questions through the presentation? You want to have us hold those off till the end? What do you think? Are you okay with that?
Um, yeah, that's fine. If any questions come up, that's fine just to shoot them out.
Perfect. And actually, Jamie's going to have a question for all of us at the very end of the presentation. He's going to circle back and ask you how well you were listening with a simple little trivia question to see if you were listening. And whoever gets the answer correctly, the quickest in our chat, the ARMA chapter is going to issue you a little gift card and thank you for the meeting. And of course, thank you for listening to the presentation and getting it right. So without further ado, we are going to cover building trustworthy systems with Laserfiche. Um, Insights from a public sector. I'm in the public, a lot of us are, but this will definitely cross over all spectrums there for folks using records and information management. So just quick house guesswork here. If you would like to raise your hand, it sounds like it's okay with Jamie. If you have any questions, you want to pop in the chat. I'm going to watch the chat. And once again, this is being recorded, and the plus to that is we can share this with everybody. There's going to be some great content coming out today. So again, we will meet again next February 19th with our next meeting. We do this every month with the ARMA chapter. But let's jump into today's topic. If it's okay, I'm going to pass the microphone over to Jamie Dunn at this time.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I am Jamie Dunn. I am the VP of Sales here at Complete Paperless Solutions. Like we spoke about, we're going to be talking about trusted systems, trustworthy systems. It's been a very popular topic among cities and special districts here in California. So just a little bit about Complete Paperless Solutions. I think most of you guys have either heard of Laserfiche or you know who CPS is, but we are an employee-owned company, have been since 2004. We have about 180 clients, mostly in California. Again, we specialize and kind of concentrate on those special districts and cities here in Cali. We did receive a Customer Choice Award, which basically means that we have the highest retention of keeping our customers as happy as possible. We're masters at integrating Laserfiche with other applications that you might have as well. We do conversions, and then we have a development team as well that is all internal. So if you have Laserfiche and it doesn't do something out of the box, 9 times out of 10 we can make it do what you want it to do. We are located here, based out of Anaheim. I work out of my home office in Temecula. So defining a trustworthy system, like what makes a trustworthy system? So it obviously has to do with security, integrity, transparency, and of course, reliability. So definition-wise, the state of California defines a trusted system as a combination of techniques, policies, and procedures for which there is no plausible scenario in which a document retrieved from or reproduced by the system could differ substantially from the document that is originally stored. So boiling that down to what that really means, it's really an encrypted, unalterable copy of your files. If you have those two things, having it be encrypted and an unalterable copy so it can't be changed, you can use your electronic document as the final record, which means you are able to destroy the paper. So there's a lot of challenges faced by public agencies in maintaining a trustworthy system, regulatory compliance, public records access, and obviously evolving technology that just changes all too frequently sometimes. Good news, Laserfiche platform, it meets all these challenges with robust features and data security, records integrity, and compliance. So Laserfiche does offer a couple different flavors of how to do this, and it's really depending on the type of installation that you have. So with Laserfiche Cloud, which we will be discussing a little bit later, you can utilize a module called Laserfiche Vault. Really simple. It's just basically a push of a button, and that will enable Laserfiche to manage that unalterable encrypted copy in the cloud for you. If you have an on-premise installation of Laserfiche, it gets a little trickier, but we do have a partner, Restore Vault, who actually, that was my call right before this, was with Tony at Yorba Linda Water District, who just got their Restore Vault enabled, and it now has a trustworthy Laserfiche system. The only catch to it is for cities, if you are storing documents in Laserfiche, police records, you need that CJIS compliant. And for that, you would use a tool called the Assurian device. So we're happy to answer any of the questions that you guys might have, or provide more information about these modules depending on your current configuration. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Sabdi Sanchez, who is the City Clerk of the City of Indio, and she's going to run through her experience with her Trustworthy System.
Thank you, Jamie. Hi, my name is Sabdi Sanchez, and yes, I'm here in Indio. I've been here for 7 years this month, and it's been a roller coaster. So I am very excited about having Laserfiche for our documents. We've had Laserfiche for even before I arrived to Indio, and but recently, about 2 years ago, we decided to designate it a trusted system for efficiency reasons and also for space reasons. Our city hall is pretty small, and we do not have an official records retention center. We have a basement, and in the basement we have files, and pretty much the basement is open to everyone. So it really leaves our files to just anybody can go in there, and it became I would say, a dumping ground. So we're trying to get all of our boxes and scanned. So what we started doing is, first we designated our Laserfiche as a trusted system, and after that I met with the plan. It's an ongoing process, but I met with my plan was to meet with each department to go over their files in the basement and their files in their offices, and just sort of train them to think of their files as an electronic file versus paper, and get them used to get them familiar with the Laserfiche structure, their folders, and start, anything that comes through their office, to think about it, think of it as an electronic copy. So if they get a document that's paper copy, scan it in and then toss the paper. That helps not only for space reasons, but also accessibility. It's so much easier to get files electronically, and versus searching on a basement or other areas of City Hall. So again, I mentioned 2 years ago, we implemented the trusted system, and it's been an ongoing process. I am a department of 2, but currently 1. And so I'm also doing the records management portion of it. So whenever I get the time, I meet with the departments and try to explain the records retention schedules to their staff and get them familiar with that. And then at the same time, plan a workflow for each department so that they can see what files do they need to keep, what files they don't need to scan. And so so that's been my ongoing project. I want to share with you my structure. We also added the records retention schedules within our Laserfiche. So we just recently did that, I believe last year, which again, it trains us to look at Laserfiche as our working hub per se. So that is the plan, is to have this as
That's not necessarily the way that is supposed to work. It's not supposed to open up new positions.
Do we need to?
Sorry?
Sorry if I need to mute somebody out there. I apologize.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to share my Laserfiche structure so you can see how we incorporate our records retention schedules. I don't know if any of you, most of you, I'm sure, have a records retention schedule in place, and but we were excited to add it into our Laserfiche. Let me get to the correct screen in a minute.
I'm excited to see this. You've incorporated your record retention schedule into Laserfiche, right
Yes.
down to the document level. So like your agreements are forever and these finance, will they automatically delete at 7 years, or just a kind of visual reminder that the
No, yeah, we set it up to remind me, and I will determine whether I need to delete it or not.
one great,
Yes,
can't wait to thanks, Sabdi. Can't wait to
we
see
can
it.
do both, obviously, but it's always better to make sure you know that something's getting deleted, right? Let's see. There we go. Okay, so you can see my screen is this is our Laserfiche repository, and this right here, this folder is this folder contains all of our records retention schedules. So if you see these folders here, these are the line items, correct? So we have our we separated our documents by, let's say, administrative and elections. So anything elections is in this folder, and anything administrative, which is the day-to-day, is here. For example, our agenda packets, they're all in here. And so it's easier to, once they get into here, this is our permanent record. We have them saved by staff reports, and then we have anything else that goes with that item. And when we click on these items, we have all the metadata on the side here, the fields. So really it helps us to just keep everything simple. Again, I'm starting with my department and finance. So what I started doing is I met with the finance department. I showed them that this is, their actually their management services. Anything, all these folders with the little, I guess, buckle, I don't know what it's called, but these are the ones that are that have the retention schedules. So so again, this folder contains all of their items that are on the retention schedule, and they're able to just go there and drop in the files versus well, any items that they have to keep, they'll just add them in these folders. And now we have we also incorporated our DocuSign accounts to do all of our agreements. So the agreements that we get signed, they automatically come in here to our repository. However, I would not, to me, I thought it would be easier to just have DocuSign and get all of the documents that get signed into this folder. But sometimes it's easier for me to just, once I get the email that a document was fully signed, I just drop it in the file. So for example, our agreements, we just drop them in here. And these are, again, these are public files that we have. But as you can see, it's really, this is the master, so I have all of the folders. Some of these folders are old. But it's really convenient to have all of the items here and accessible for everyone. If anybody needs to access documents for building, they'll be in these folders. And also we have the capability of making some of these folders public or not public. So that's the great part about it, because what we have in our public portal is only these folders, which is more mainly just agreements, agendas, and whatnot. But it's really been it's been a big benefit to the office here, having limited staff. It's nice to have the departments do their own files and just train them to use their own workflows. If we need to set up workflows for them, then we do that as well. But it's been, like I said, we get agreements, they go through DocuSign, it goes directly to the folders, and we don't keep anything. So that's been helping us get rid of a lot of our paper copies. We've worked with CPS to do a lot of the scanning for documents that we've had in our retention, in our basement. We are getting a new city hall soon, so there's a basement filled with boxes that we need to get out. So what we're doing is we're utilizing our vendors, well, CPS, and having them scan those files that are mostly planning files, engineering, and they are taking the task of not only scanning them, but at the same time, because they entered our retention schedule into Laserfiche, they are importing those documents into the correct folders and automated data and such. This help, and it will be, I mean, amazing once we get those boxes out of the basement into our Laserfiche repository. And by the time that we have to move, which will be next, probably by the end of the year, so I don't have much time. But this is where Laserfiche comes in so handy when you have everything set up in your workflows, because I mean, who wants to carry 1,000 some boxes from one place to the other? And so it really helps in again, the space wise, it's been amazing. And just to have the accessibility and to be able to just go in there and find documents versus looking through boxes or different, different offices. It's well organized, and again, it's just a matter of maintaining it. But I'm super happy that we were able to do a trusted system so that we can get rid of the paper. That is really my drive, is just getting rid of the paper, having the access to the documents, and so efficiency. I think that's the key. So there you go. That's what I had to show. And are there any questions?
I thought of a few along the way, and maybe others did too. I did see Kimberly had a good question in the chat there. I hope I get this right. Kimberly asked, "What are some of the things you needed to get department heads on board?" Was that IT, Kimberly, or for all departments? You've had Laserfiche installed for a while, so I'm sure. Was there a challenge to get all? I see. Yeah, was there a challenge to get any departments on board as you push Laserfiche?
Not at all.
No.
I think a lot of it has to do with your city manager. I mean, my city manager was very supportive of this project, especially because, we're very proactive. So anything that you can do to make easier, to make the, to provide a service to the public, the residents, our internal, external customers, we're going to do it. And so we did have the support. Our city manager was very supportive. The departments were on board. And I think for them also, is if we can help them to get their files in some type of order, obviously they're going to say yes. So
Who can argue with that, right?
yeah, yeah. So, and I'm all for just, paperless. If I wish I could, one day we will not have any file cabinets, but
Sounds like you're much closer now. That's excellent. I'm seeing more questions actually. Thank you from Lisa. Did you set up a retention workflow to automatically assign retention and destruction dates? Kind of talked about that at your destruction.
Yes, so so CPS did set up our retention schedule, and the dates are already in the Laserfiche system. And so that's when, so anytime that I drop, especially these folders, the folders that have this little tag, I don't know what it's called, but these are the folders that have the retention schedules embedded in them.
Okay.
They've already been assigned those records, the legal retention for the files that get dropped in there.
I love that.
Mhm. I haven't gotten to the point where where I have to destroy, since we just
Okay.
implemented this, so I haven't received that notification that, hey, the files have been, you know, saved for 7 years. So I cannot give you any examples on that, but
Okay, let's meet again in 7 years. Sabdi, a demonstration on how the deletion went. Cool.
okay, we'll meet in 7 years.
Thank you. That's awesome. A couple more questions, I'm sure, and we'll get back going. What process did you have to go through to use Laserfiche Vault as a trusted system for the city to allow you to destroy physical files? Sorry if I butchered that. What process did you have to go through? Okay.
Well, so as far as, since from the beginning to end, I mean, we do still do the same process of, when we have our files that have passed their legal retention period, we still have the same forms. I mean,
Oh,
we do the same thing that we did with the paper copies with the electronic copies. So
that's
is that what the question? I hope I answered the question
is
right.
that right, Amy? I hope I got that across for you. There's no getting around those forms. We still got to get permission from the department that they're going to
Yeah.
destroy, but it's a
Mhm.
lot easier when it's one button in the
Definitely. So
laser
what
feed.
I do is,
Very
yeah,
cool.
I just route that form with the documents that are getting destroyed and a copy of the retention schedule so that the city attorney can see, hey, this is what I'm referencing. And it just gets routed, and we do save those as well. So
Hi, Sabdi, it's Amy. Can you guys hear me?
yes.
Yes.
Sorry, maybe my question was, I probably wrote it a little awkward, but did you have to get something adopted by the city council that they said you could go ahead and destroy these physical files as long as you have them in your Laserfiche vault?
Well, that's part of, so when we did when I took this to the council to approve Laserfiche as a trusted system, we also had to do the policy. And I think those are the requirements of designating the trusted system, is you have to have these policies in place. So that was also part of it, having that policy in place. And I can share that with you if you'd like.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Thank you.
Mhm.
Great. I just see one more question in the chat for now. Oh, make that two. What did you use to communicate Laserfiche activities? Newsletter, emails, meetings, announcements? Good question. How did you get that campaign started around the city there?
I think it was more of a director level, so we did more of a one-on-ones meetings with the departments. Um, not a lot of not a lot of newsletters. It was mainly just very internal with the department directors and the key staff. So that's pretty much how we did it here.
Perfect. And just that last question from I think Damien here. Do you complete the disposition of records that have met retention, or is it up to the department to ensure? I see. That, that's a good question. It sounds like this is one of the hats that you wear. You also do records. You don't have a dedicated records department. This probably falls on you to make sure that it got signed and approved for destruction.
Yes, I actually
Ouch.
route everything. So I asked them to do their list. So if they have their records, I give them the forms. I said, okay, when they meet the retention deadline, please fill this out. Make sure you quote the right retention code. And then when I receive that form, I review it, I compare it against the retention schedules and make sure that that it's the correct the codes and then I route it. I route the form, and then once I send it to them saying, okay, it's been approved by everyone, please destroy your files. return this form with the destruction record, and then I file it. They
Oh,
have
so
to.
that user will actually initiate the destruction in Laserfiche themselves. The
Mhm,
finance manager, whatever man does it, and they get some sort of certificate through Laserfiche, and you've seen it's done. That is
mhm,
great. Thank you.
mhm.
Perfect. Thanks for taking all of our questions, Sabdi. Maybe there'll be some more questions at the end there. I know we're going to hear more. Angelica's here and she has more for us too. Sabdi, thank you so much. I think we'll probably pivot over. Thanks for answering all our questions.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Am I up? Thank you
Hi.
so much. Hi, I'm Angelica Avila, the city clerk for the City of Indio and Wells. I've been with the city for 17 years now. I'm not in the position as the clerk, but supporting the clerk position. I became the clerk a couple years ago, and this is actually one of the things that we just began to implement when I took this position. I'm not as ahead as Sabdi is. I'm in the most at the beginning stages of initiating this project, so I'm super excited for it. Just a little bit of an overview of some of the things that Indian Wells, some of the challenges and our priorities regarding this trustworthy system that we've been wanting to implement. Want to go over some of those situations. So some of the obstacles that we face was, of course, we're a small staff. Indian Wells has 5,000 residents. Permanently, we have 3,200. Registered voters here in Indian Wells. So it's a very small demographic. We have 38 full-time employees. Not all 38 employees are in my department. I only have two of us that work in just on all records and city clerks items. So with that, we had the small staffing, needing to digitize decades of records. So as I mentioned, this was not something that we've been working on. This has just recently started in about 2021, 2022. But prior to that, what we did do to prepare for this, because we knew it was something that we wanted to do, we designated one person for each department. As I mentioned, it's a small city. So we designated one record liaison for each department to kind of help us with this effort on identifying what types of records we needed to keep permanently, setting up a record retention schedule, approving that through the council, and what records we can destroy. So that was the beginning stages of what we did. And also, being a small city, any type of increase in service is going to affect everyone. So records requests were coming in at that time, continued to rise. So we didn't have a lot of our records digitized. We knew that. So again, we started slowly implementing digitizing our records over the years. What we did first, we did meet with all our key staff, all our records liaisons that we've identified, and as I mentioned, to set up a digital policy. How are we going to be saving these files in the early stages to be able to identify them, what they are, to ensure that all the scannings are being consistent to meet our record retention schedule. So that was the beginning stages. Although we didn't have a trusted system at that time, what we did do is we created a records drive. And so as we started scanning all our documents in, we were filing those away. Only myself and our IT manager at the time had access to that drive for any deletions, redacting, anything like that, or changing the document itself. No one had access or was able to remove any documents from that record drive. But again, it wasn't a trusted system. It was just kind of like a Band-Aid for us to hopefully in the future to develop a new plan. So of course we had our department teams on staff, supporting that effort. So we did that. We started scanning a lot of our documents in one central location. So even in our early efforts, I just want to reiterate, it wasn't a trusted system. So we knew that we needed to change that. So as I mentioned, our project with Laserfiche began around 21, 22. So we did include Volt, a trusted system. So we did include that in our package. It was a cloud system that we went with. The city found the need to, obviously, with what our efforts were already happening behind the scenes, scanning, records requests were still coming in. A lot of records were not readily available online. So we knew that finding something like Laserfiche was going to be a benefit for the city, especially since we're already doing a lot of the back end work of scanning. So in order to implement Laserfiche, what we did do, we met with staff. We went with IT. Our IT manager was my first contact that I had. kind of assessing and going to webinars, trying to see what system we could implement to continue the effort of moving all the scanning documents that we were already working on into a trusted system. So we ended up with Laserfiche. You know, we met with our key staff members, with the executive team. As Sabdi mentioned, you know, our city manager was very instrumental, very supportive at the time to get something in place to eliminate some of the processes like, you know, records request, having to scan documents and, you know, sending them to the community. So that was really important to us. So what we did once we wanted to onboard a new system, what we did meet again with our records liaisons. We met with each department to identify what records we wanted to start off with. As I mentioned, we have decades of records. Like Sabdi, we have an off-site location where we have hundreds of boxes of records, permanent records, 5-10-year retention records. So what was our what did we want to start off with? So we decided to start off with our permanent records, to start implementing those first, and that's how we started. And we're going to keep moving on, you know, as we go on. You know, 10-year retention, 25-year retention, just go along the line. So you know, and of course, as we started to develop this, so we identified the key records that we wanted to first was permanent records, and then 25 years and so on. So once we did that, we started to create a filing system with our cities, with our record liaisons, and we wanted to make this easy for them to be able to import documents. And why this was important to us is because, again, we don't have a designated records person. It's my staff. As Sabdi said, we also handle destructions. We handle the review of the destruction request, all of that we still handle. We wanted to make sure that as we're delegating these assignments to our citywide departments, one person per department, that it would be easy for them to kind of drag and drop records, and it wasn't too time consuming for them. So we partnered to create a budget for scanning. So a lot of the scanning is done off-site, and the easier stuff we can do here when we hire temps or if we have interns. Those are opportunities that we use for us to help us with, again, scanning, because we have a lot of records that we're still needing to scan. And then also was one thing that we did include while we did that, we identified the records, we started creating a filing system, and then slowly we've been implementing and opening as Sabdi mentioned, and as Laserfiche has, we have a view. Once the records are in Laserfiche, you can view them in the public, or not. They can be non-viewable. Since we have a lot of the records that are not ready to be made public due to redactions and certain key things that we have to consider when we're disclosing documents. You know, we're still, again, we're in the beginning phases and identifying those, but we did get a lot of, they do offer licensings, which we took advantage of for internal staff. So although a lot of the documents that we're scanning in were not readily available online yet for the public to inspect, we still, our city internal staff can still easily view them. They can search those key terms that we have. And why it was so important to develop a digital filing naming convention at the beginning of the project is because now as we're filing them, we can still find those records in Laserfiche that we're working on. So that's been super, you know, instrumental for us as we've continued this project. So as I mentioned, I did want to show a little bit of what we have. Again, we're in the beginning stages of you know, getting our system, so it's not very as robust as Sabdi's was, but ours is like really brand new. And I'm going to share my screen so you can kind of see our filing system and how we're working on that. And I will do that now. Let's see. Not that one. Okay, so here, this is our portal. Again, it's very, it's in the beginning stages. We have kind of what it looks like right now. As you see, we have CPS scanning samples here.
Angelica,
you know,
we can't see your screen, or at least I can't.
You can't see it?
No, it says double click to enter the full screen mode.
Hold on. Can you see it now?
There it is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So as you can see, we're in the beginning stages of our, you know, our system now. So this is what it looks like on our back end. And we have here, our first section here is the scanning that I mentioned, that we're working with CPS, and why this has been very beneficial to us is that they know our filing tree and what our documents require in order to import them. So as we're scanning documents in, they automatically flow into Laserfiche very easily. And then again, it takes out our staff from having to do that. So there's opportunity there. So we partner with their scanning. And again, it just goes readily there. Our city clerk, you know, these are a lot of the documents that we have that we've been uploading. Our template is very minimal data that we require to import. You know, here's our template. We pick out which template we would like to import, which document to use. And again, it's just the type of meeting it is, the type of committee, and the date. Very, very simple. Again, we wanted it to be very simple for staff to just upload and go, and not having to do a lot of features. Again, because Laserfiche does offer a search engine, and we rely on that a lot. So again, it's very, very simple filing system that we have right now. And as I mentioned, a lot of the departments that we've added, like finance department just started importing documents. Public Works has made their pages live. You know, so a lot of the stuff is already readily available for the public inspection, but there's a lot of other documents that you see here that we have that are not readily available, but our internal staff is still able to access it should they need it. So we're still working on that. And then and as you know, Indian Wells is very small. A lot of our demographic also is they're retired, and they want just to come in and get documents. They don't want to go online. So we knew that we had to make things a lot easier for them to you know, push that effort for them to search online, search for your minutes, your you know, anything that they might need online. And what did we do? We did create a video, so I want to share that as well. Let me get that real quick. So on our city website, we added a how-to, because again, this is decades and decades of records that we've been providing. I mean, it's a small city, but we still had 300 records requests a year. I know it's not a lot, but for us it's a lot for one person. So we wanted to make sure that we kind of started making that push for the public to really utilize our website to search for documents, especially for, you know, agenda minutes, council meeting minutes, citywide contracts, anything like that that's already readily available for us. They can just go online and view it. But this is what we did. We did a how-to video, and it's on our website if you would like to see it, but it kind of guides them on how to search through the Laserfiche portal. You know, the search engine, if they don't know exactly what key terms they need or how to find it, they can punch in whether anything like that. They can just go on there and view that. Another thing that we did was that on our homepage of our city website, because this was so new, we wanted to really highlight you know, where to search for your city documents. So that was a big push. So we did send out a newsletters to our community, introducing Laserfiche, introducing the ability to go in and search for records. So we do get a lot of feedback on that. You know, a lot of records, oh, why aren't you guys putting these types of records on? Where are these? So then that gives us opportunity. Okay, let's reassess, can we put those documents on there? Let's, you know, then that opens up opportunities for us to continue to build our tree of Laserfiche and continue to add more documents. And it's been very well received, and we just continue to build on the records that we're including in there. And then I also want to kind of show you, this is a visual of what our record portal looks like. Again, it's it's very new. We don't have a lot there yet that's made public, but as you can see, we have our citywide documents, which could, you know, policies are very big for us. That, you know, a lot of the residents want to see what policy says that you guys can do that. So we've added a citywide document that's that we can add just more generic documents as a whole, like anything that we find kind of like, it's not really the clerk's office or it's not really Public Works, but maybe it's a citywide document. We can just throw it in there and then just highlight that section. So that's where we kind of, that's our little section that we've added. And then, and again, this is what it looks like when they're searching for records. And what you see here at the top where it says Indian Wells City Clerk, Agenda, and City Council, that's really what we're just adding on the back end when we're importing our documents. It's very simple for us. Again, it was really important for us to make it simple for staff as they're importing documents. And what I've learned for me is because this program is new for me, is to really rely on my partners, on my city partners. Sabdi has been instrumental to to me getting this started. It's the city of La Quinta, Monica Rendeva, she's great. And then also the city of Palm Desert. I've been working really closely to kind of like check, I tend to go in and check their website, what they're doing. And that's how it has helped me kind of implement my role. And it's not always the same, it's gonna be different because our city is very different, but it's always good to kind of check in with what your neighboring cities are doing and how, and that can kind of help you develop your own. And that, to me, it's been very helpful and instrumental to me to kind of check in with my peers on what I can continue to implement. So that's been a really great thing for us. But that's pretty much all I have. And I went pretty quickly. But if you guys have any questions, please let me know.
I'm impressed by the public portal. I have not rolled ours out yet, so I really wanted to say, just like you said, look at my neighbor cities, agencies, and see what's working for you. I'd love to get that started. Can the public like do a full text search, OCR search, if they're looking for a policy, like you said, and they want the policy on, parking or what have you? Can they just search a keyword through your public
Yes,
portal? Okay, that's
and it'll run anything that has to do with that. So so it's really, really beneficial. And then one
fantastic.
thing I did want to highlight with your partners, because we are we always include your IT. I found that oftentimes other departments are, upgrading their systems, whether it's financial systems and how are those going to integrate together is very important, that they have that ability to do that. We just recently updated our permit hub. So we're working with that vendor, with our vendor, to kind of work together to merge those two programs to be able to file the records after they've been finalized. So just keep that in mind. I'm learning that. That's brand new this past year. I know the city of La Quinta is really way ahead of that. So we're tailgating on, being right behind them on how we can, provide those efforts too with your departments as they're improving their programs as well.
That's great. That's great. And we did stir up some questions here in the chat. Kimberly, you're welcome to unmute if you'd like to ask your questions, or I could do my best to recite them here.
I can unmute. It's just there was a gardener outside my window. It's always the way, right? You get on a
Right,
call and
of
somebody's going
course.
"Rrrr" outside your window.
Yes.
So just to be fully transparent, I work for CPS. I do marketing for them, but my questions are in the sense of we have these valuable resources right here, right? Angelica and Sabdi, and I just want to make sure we get the full sense of what they're doing with their cities, because they're pretty interesting. And I also wanted to mention that La Quinta, there is a case study on the CPS website, and there's also a webinar that they did, and she shows all the in and outs of her system, her file structure, et cetera. So it's a good thing to look at. Anyway, I'm wondering, in the fullness of time, about what's going on now in terms of the the tragic events. Is there anything that you have done differently in terms of thinking about records management and transparency that maybe you wouldn't have thought about before? No.
No, I'm trying to understand. So is it in the recent happenings of?
Yeah, so in terms of like disaster preparedness and disaster recovery, is there anything that you're sort of
Oh.
looking at changing or doing more of or less of in terms of records management and Laserfiche? And this is a Sabdi question too. So
Yeah, I mean, just, of course, just, as you see, it's the importance of really retaining what we have.
Yep.
History of our city is so important. So as we have an offsite location where we have a lot of our records, I'm very grateful that almost all our permanent records are scanned in. But again, any record that we're producing from here and the future is very important. So it just reiterates why it's going paperless is, I mean, we're trying to do the same thing, just go paperless and have everything on a cloud. But yeah, so just our efforts have grown. We do have a day in the summer that we do close fully to just work on our records. So something that we do have in our city, which has been really well received. So we close City Hall and we scan a lot of our stuff. We identify those documents. But yes, those efforts, obviously, it brings to light, like, we really need to get this going, especially for where they're sitting at now. I mean, it's it's a structure. It can go easily come down, and we need to preserve our records. So yeah, so but in our next budgetary, we are going to be including more budget for scanning.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Angelica. I think especially with any disaster, I think with more reason, I'm so happy that we have a cloud-based storage. And I always ask, I ask IT, I was like, are you sure? Like, where are they backed up? Like, how many times? I just want to make sure that it's backed up somewhere, like triple 10 times. I still like to keep our main documents, like the minutes, resolutions, ordinances. I still keep a paper copy for historical reasons, just because our books look really pretty. And so I like to follow that sequence. And we do have a retention center in our new city hall, but it's a smaller, just for permanent files, which are those files, are more of the historical items. But I think, as she mentioned, Angelica, it's looking into preserving in a format that will always be available, hopefully, and in 10, 15, 20 years. And then just thinking about, okay, 20 years ago, maybe we had DVDs. We no longer have that. I do remember in a prior agency, we used another type of, we used Questus. I don't even know if it exists, but those things tend to die at some point. I hope that Laserfiche continues for many, many, many years, but we also have to think of the possibility that it won't. So what are we going to do next? How are we going to, change from here to the next new thing? Like I said, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope Laserfiche lasts for another 100 years. But we have to always look at what we need to do for the future. So
Thank you. Good answers.
I love the way those minutes and agendas look in those Wilson Jones books too. We finally got away from it. It tears me apart. I love, like you said, keeping paper, because that media will always be able to be digitized later and ready for any other migration that might be. So
and we have them both. I mean, we have them both. We try to do, again, the documents get signed, docu-signed, but we still have them on acid-free paper. Just those items that are, like the history of the city, at least the minutes, I guess.
absolutely. Good stuff. We ran through the dream team right here. While we've got this resource, please send your questions out there. We'll leave the chat open right here. You were nice enough to take our questions as you went, but while we've got a moment, if folks still have a question out there, feel free to ask. Don't forget, we do have our little trivia question at the end. Make sure you were listening to Jamie at the end, forgive me, at the beginning, and he can ask a question for you shortly, and we'll provide a gift card to whoever answers the question correctly the quickest here in the chat. So hopefully you do have the chat open. Speaking of the chat, I dropped a link to next month's meeting. Hopefully everyone comes back as we talk about this.
Jim, I just want to make sure we got through all
Yes.
written questions in the chat. Sorry, I had to take a call, but did we get through all the other questions?
Thanks for asking. Let me make sure I didn't cut anybody out there. We're lucky we got Kimberly to join us. Damien did. Damien, I'm so sorry. Did you ask about an example of a certificate of destruction from Laserfiche? Yeah, I would love to see that too, if possible. Is that something you could share either now or maybe in the send forward, and I could share with Damien if I've got everyone's email from the registration? I could, if you're okay with that, if I can maybe get one from.
Yeah, I guess I have either of them. Have either of you destroyed any records yet where you have that certificate of destruction?
Not through
I don't think
Laserfiche,
so.
not me. No, right now we're still using, so what the documents that we are currently scanning, we do have the destruction form, but it's not the Laserfiche yet. We haven't experienced that yet. I haven't gone through that yet.
Maybe that's a good question for
Yes.
Jamie. Jamie, what's that process, and does CPS or does Laserfiche offer that as part of the destruction process?
Yeah, I think that would be more of an internal document that is sent throughout the city or district. But everything in Laserfiche is audited. There's an audit trail that keeps track of everything that happens in Laserfiche. But I think that would be more of an internal document for whatever was getting routed for destruction.
But CPS does offer that audit trail, right? Because there still has to be an audit trail when they're destroyed digitally. So you have that audit trail that, in sense, the agency can take and then do a certificate on their own end, whether it's a resolution or some form or some other avenue of showing that.
Correct. Yeah, we would take care of all that for you guys.
Can I sneak in a question I was thinking about when you were speaking? I think Sabdi was saying, do you have interns doing some of the scanning for you there? I'm super curious on both Angelica and Sabdi. Who's ingesting documents? That's something I deal with here. I want everybody here to actually be able to add documents, retrieve documents, just haven't got to that level yet. Who all can scan or input at your agencies there?
So for us, we do not have interns. We thought about interns, but with interns, sometimes they're short term. So in teaching them what to scan, what to look for, we felt that it would be best to train the staff in each department because it's their document, and they would know best on where to place the documents. They're familiar with the retention schedule. So for us, it's training the staff in the department to scan, to use a retention schedule, and again, for the bigger projects, using services by CPS, where they take our files and scan them, and then import them into our Laserfiche.
Okay, a little bit of both approach, in-house scanning and CPS. Thank you very much, Sabdi.
For our city, we do use temp. We actually have a temp right now. Temp and intern in the past, but right now we have a temp that's helping us. Depending when, as I said, our city is so small that when we have high volume of service, we tend to add a temporary employee. So we do have one that's here right now. So we generally just have them scan the documents. We show them how we, as I mentioned and earlier, is we do have a digital naming convention that we follow. So just showing her that that's how you would name it and where to drop it on our shares drive. And then our staff would just drag and drop them ourselves. And I have my staff person, which is, she's also at the front counter. She's a receptionist, so she'll help me with that. So again, just to try to help little, wherever we can, just continue to scan. Like I said, we have so many records, and we've, so we do have someone that actually is helping us with that. And we try to, because it's not always busy all day. So when there's those down times, can you help us scan a couple records for us? So, so they do that for us.
Perfect. Thanks, Sabdi. It's CPS. Perfect. Folks, we're approaching the hour. Last chance to ask a question with the dream team here. Like I said, we're able to share this presentation later, so you can roll back, listen to it, share it with your IT, share it with your bosses and managers, what have you. This is great. I'm definitely going to share mine. She's a Laserfiche fan, so this is going to be a great conversation. Speaking of conversation, at the very beginning, I think Jamie, did you come up with a question we could ask our guests today?
Yeah, so I was thinking maybe I just have you guys recite that long definition of what California thinks is a trusted system, but that would take a long time. But how about, I guess first one to put it in the chat of how many clients does CPS currently have?
Oh, gosh. Folks, feel free to enter your best guess.
Start Googling.
Best.
There it
You
is.
say 189 or something like that.
See, they're listening out there. Amy nailed it.
Amy got it.
Very good,
Well
Amy.
done.
Let me make sure I've got your email, Amy. That is so cool. I'll send that to you, a gift card from the Inland Empire chapter.
It's jdunn@cps2.
That's spam. I've already got a block on that. Yes, there you go.
Your camera shifted
Imper
there.
Yeah, sorry, you don't want to at Imperial. So thanks so much. So much. Amy will get that gift card out. Go ahead, Sylvia.
No, I was just gonna say, did you mention what they're getting? And you did a gift card.
I did. I can't tell you where you'll be dining or visiting soon, but it'll be something of good choice, I promise.
Thank
Well,
you.
perfect. That about takes us to 1 o'clock. Hopefully you did see in the chat, we've got the link to next month's meeting. We'll get together again. I want to thank our speakers. Thank you so much, Sabdi, Angelica, and Jamie. This is great. Like I said, I'm going to run this back with some of my colleagues here and share. Thanks so much for your time, and all of our guests. Thanks for making time. I know this is lunch for a lot of us. Appreciate your time. Hope you join us with the Inland Empire chapter again soon. I'm just gonna stay on here and watch a chat for a minute, but feel free to enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you so much for joining the chapter. Have a great day.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Sabdi and Angelica, for agreeing to do it. We appreciate your time and appreciate everything you guys did for this, for the presentation. So thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
And then we'll forward any questions if anything comes up or something. We'll forward any questions or something to you both to see if you have any responses or anything like that. Because sometimes people will think about, I know it'll hit me hours later or a day later, and I'm like, what about this? So if we get any of those, Jim can forward those on to you. And then a copy of are you going to forward a copy of the video link?
There'll be a cloud link to this recording,
Okay.
the Zoom link. So I think we're gonna want to watch that. That should be ready in just a few minutes.
Okay.
Please
Yeah.
reach out to me for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good luck with all your projects out there. I want to watch it as you go along. It sounds great.
Maybe we'll do a 12-month check-in with you ladies. See where you're at in 12 months. We better see something different on that screen. That's all I'm saying.
I'll be catching up to Sabdi for sure.
We all will be.
And I'll be catching up to La Quinta, which they have, I mean, she had
Where's
everything
Monica? Did she jump off our?
perfect.
She did. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're all trying to catch up to someone, so.
I know, right? I'm just trying to get CPS. I'm trying to get off of what I have and get something else. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
Jamie. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye, guys.